obviously. Yeah.
Marty just let me know that Mark
the festivities this morning. Thank you all for showing up. We have a great crowd showed up. I'd like to welcome you all here. My name is Mike LePain. I'm the President and CEO of Bluewater Health. It's wonderful to see you all here for this remarkable experience that doesn't happen very often. And you actually get a bonus today. We thought today we were opening 2 time capsules, one from 1895 and one from 1952. And what we did is we created a memorial where we actually took the cornerstones from the old Sarnia General, and we created a memorial out by the Shell Healing Garden behind the welcome desk here. And so I encourage you all to go and look at that. But during the construction of that memorial, which was made out of the bricks from Sarnia General, as they were cutting down one of the cornerstones, they couldn't understand what the resistance was, and they discovered a 3rd time capsule that we were unaware of. So you're actually getting 3 time capsules today, not 2, so a bit of a bonus. So many of you here have deep connections with the Sarnia General Hospital. So how many people in the audience here were born in Sarnia General? Yeah, and are there people that attended the nursing school there? Yeah, so there's a lot of deep connections, and Sarnia General was really a firmament in the community here for over 100 years. So long before the time capsules were created, many key community leaders were concerned about the health needs of the city of Sarnia, and they responded by building the first hospital in 1895. Sarnia General was first opened in 1896 with just 26 beds, and they had 1 head nurse and 2 trainee nurses. So today we have probably upwards of 1,000 nurses, so just times have changed. Every cent of the construction was raised by the community at the time, and after a few years they continued fundraising, and they debuted an additional ring and added an additional 40 beds as it continued to evolve. Through every generation, physicians, nurses, and staff of the Sarnia General were deeply committed to the people of the community. It saw some big events occur during the 1819 flu epidemic. There were many people that came back from the war, and it affected the city of Sarnia, and the hospital was instrumental in helping deal with that. Also during the next war, the Second World War, another sentinel event occurred when there was a catastrophic fire aboard the Harmonic, which was docked in Point Edward. It sent 152 people to the hospital to be treated for burns, fractures, and shock. I don't know if any of you were here at that time, but that would have been a big event. We'd have difficulty dealing with that many people even today. So in its time, Sarnia General saw the transformation of medicine. We saw penicillin vaccines save the lives of many children, eliminating these deadly conditions. We saw the advent of X-rays culminating in CT scans and MRIs that we have today. And as you know, Bluewater Health is Sarnia General is one of the 3 hospitals that form Bluewater Health today. The other 2, of course, being the St. Joseph's Hospital, which is the site you're standing on today, and the Charlotte Eleanor Engelhardt site out in Petrolia. So like today, like its antecedents, Bluewater today continues to provide care to patients. And remember I said we had 1 nurse and 2 nurse trainees when it first opened. Today we have about 1,800 staff, about 200 physicians, and about 500 volunteers. So it has proliferated. So I'd like to just introduce a few people before we begin who have a strong connection to Sarnia General. The first is seated right here in front of me is Jean Paisley. She's here. She's been here for more than half our history as a student, a nurse, a volunteer. She's a one-of-a-kind in her dedication to Sarnia General, and Bluewater Health is exceptional, but she also represents thousands of others. She was one of the more than 900 young women who were trained here to become a nurse. And I hope you all enjoy and are able to see the photos of the nursing school that are scattered amongst the tables on the around the perimeter. When she retired, she stayed on and stayed connected to Sarnia General, and later became a volunteer at Bluewater Health and spent more than 60 years as a volunteer in the pediatric and palliative care department. So Jean is quite a notable figure to us. babies were delivered, Sarnia General up till the 50s. Actually, I don't want to say when all the deliveries migrated over to St. Joe's, because our own Dr. Duncan McKinley was born in Sarnia General, and I would be giving away his age, and I promised him I wouldn't do that today. But we also have some elected officials that we'd like to introduce, and I'd like to begin with our MP, Marilyn Gladue. Welcome. We have our MPP, Bob Bailey. I see Sarnia Mayor Mike Bradley in the back. And Petrolia Mayor Brad Loosley. And then finally, I want to introduce Marty Raymakers and actually Mark Lumley from the G5 group. The G5 is the local company that purchased the old Sarnia General, and they were the ones who transferred the cornerstones over to the hospital for future posterity. So we covered them, and they're responsible in large part to for today's celebration. So I'd like to ask, I guess Mark was going to say a few words on behalf of the G5, and he'll be followed by Ron Reelsmith, who's the president of the Sarnia Historical Society. Give some historical context to the time capsules, and then we'll begin the actual opening of the time capsules. I'm so glad I had all these notes I had to cover today, and the last time I did this, it was outdoors. And I came up with loose paper, and as soon as I set the paper down, it all blew off the podium. So I'm much more relieved today to feel a little more in control. So I'd like to invite Mark up just to say a few words, if you will. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you to all the Bluewater staff, Bluewater Health staff that helped put today's event together and do all of the legwork to make this possible. As Mike alluded, my name is Mark Lumley. I'm one of the partners of G5. I'm here representing Marty, because Marty Raymaker is also one of the partners of G5, was very instrumental in recognizing from the beginning the historical significance of this site, of the time capsules, and everything that this building has meant to our community for many years. So welcome everyone today. As I said, I'm Mark Lumley. My wife Melissa is here. Marty Raymakers and Pammy. We have Alex Jongsma, his wife Perry's not able to be here today. Charlie Daly, his wife Karen, and also Ken Poor and Donna Poor that are also not here. We felt a very strong sense that this building was important to our community, and that's why we began this journey. When G5 acquired the hospital lands, we did spend considerable amount of time planning the demolition. But one important item on our list, and especially Marty's list, was to preserve the cornerstones and the history of this building. We recognize the historical significance of preserving not only the time capsules, but the contents within them with the whole community. We recognize that Sarnia General site is probably the most historically significant community facility in the Sarnia-Lambton area. There have been many, many people born and passed on in that building. Many people spent their working careers in that building. And a lot of people feel a lot of historical significance to that. G5 is thrilled to be a part of this event and very pleased to donate back to the community these symbols of our history. Enjoy your day. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Bluewater Health. My name is Ron Reelsmith, and I'm the president of the Sarnia Historical Society. Since it is 2019, we are on Facebook Live, so I just want to give a quick shout out to Dave Burrows, who's doing his thing over there. Thanks, Dave, for getting us live on social media. That's fantastic. So first of all, we want to thank Bluewater Health for inviting the Sarnia Historical Society to participate in today's time capsule unveiling. Believe me, nobody appreciates the outstanding healthcare facility more than the Historical Society, perhaps because we have a better understanding than most about what it took to get here. It's hard to imagine Sarnia without a hospital, but in a historical sense, it was not that long ago that we didn't have one. Towards the end of the 19th century, Sarnia was a city of 6,000 souls. It was a time when doctors made house calls, but if you were severely ill or needed surgery, there was little alternative but to make the trip to London. And that trip took considerably longer in the early 1890s than the 60 minutes or less than it takes today. And depending on how fast you drive on the 402 now, it might be a little faster. So when Mayor Ebenezer Watson introduced a campaign in 1894 to build a hospital in Sarnia, it was a hugely popular idea. By 1895, the first hospital board of trustees, as well as the Ladies Hospital Aid Society, had been formed. Raising money was difficult, though, and the original plan for 40 beds for a 40-bed hospital had to be scaled back. Finally, in 1896, the 26-bed General Hospital opened on the site of the old grammar school on Mitten Street near George. By 1899, the original 40-bed hospital was in operation. It is interesting to note that the first cornerstone for Sarnia General Hospital was laid in 1895. There was a Masonic ceremony involved. The Victoria Lodge of Masons, arranged by the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Canada, came to attend and lead the laying of the cornerstone according to Masonic customs and ceremonies. Many prominent community leaders were Masons, and several trustees of the original board, as well as several doctors at Sarnia General Hospital, were Masons. We are pleased to note that Masons from the Victoria Lodge are here with us today, as well as Masons from other lodges in the area served by Bluewater Health. And just a few names we have for the Masons that are present today. We have Right Worshipful Brothers Gord Simmons, Alex O'Neill, Ken Wood, Bill Graham, and Ivan Bryce. So thanks for being here today. Three decades later, on a freezing cold January 8, 1929, a new wing of the hospital was opened and a new cornerstone was laid. Despite the awful weather that day, there was a sizable crowd on Mitten Street for the event, including Mayor James Newton, members of City Council, and other dignitaries. Miss Margaret Mackenzie, chairman of the Hospital Commission and a descendant of Sarnia's favorite political son, Alexander Mackenzie, not Mike Bradley, was officiated at the ceremony. She gave much of the credit for the opening of the new wing to Mrs. R. Sturrett, chair of the Ladies Hospital Aid Society and the mother of the great war hero George Hunter Sturrett, for whom today's Confederation Street Armory is named. There was a lot of history gathered at the hospital on that day 90 years ago. In 1946, on the site of Russell Street, the new St. Joseph Hospital was built. Then, in 1952, the old General Hospital was demolished and the new Sarnia General Hospital was erected on the same site. To know and appreciate our past is to better understand and savor our future. The Bluewater Health's 7-story building is the largest public sector redevelopment in Sarnia-Lambton's history. It takes the place of both the old Sarnia General Hospital site being redeveloped by G5 and the old St. Joseph's Hospital that once stood on this site. Finally, in my role as the president of the Sarnia Historical Society, I want to thank the history and community-minded Marty Raymakers and the other leaders of G5 who salvaged the historic cornerstones from the old hospital. That is the focus this morning. Thank you, Marty. G5. Yeah, true. You've really made an important contribution to preserving the history of the Imperial City. I'll now ask Bluewater Health President and CEO Mike LePaine to reclaim the podium. Thank you very much.
Well, actually, what we're going to do now is pull out the contents of the time capsules. Ron's going to begin. I'm not sure what we do. Do I do a play-by-play, or what's the protocol?
I've got a mic here. Can everyone hear me okay?
Thank you.
I have to put on the official white gloves. Yeah. There's a drum roll. Thanks, Marilyn, for the drum roll. That was fantastic. Can everyone hear me okay?
The gloves have to be white? Is that part of the...
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's part of the...
Yeah.
It's like a magician. So we're going to start with the 1952 time capsule. I apologize for everyone in the back that can't see. Afterwards, everything's going to be on display here, so you're going to be able to come and take a look. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open each item. Yeah, I'm going to ask you. So we have a camera right there. Like I said, we're streaming live, and afterwards, if you go to the Bluewater Health Facebook page, you'll be able to see the video from today. And I'm going to be displaying each one as we're going along here. So I'm going to start with 1952, and then to 1929, and work my way down to the 1895 one. So first and foremost, 1952, we have some coins.
Was anyone here born in 1952 in the Sarnia General Hospital? No.
So we have a silver dollar here. I'm just going to lay those out. And there is what appears to be a wine cap or on the top. And I'm assuming there's going to be a story about why that is here. So maybe there's a bottle in there we can all sit around and drink afterwards.
Be well aged.
Okay, the next item we have here. The next item that we have is a Gideon Bible, is what it appears to be. Is it signed by the man himself? Nope, it's not signed by him. Show that there. Next thing that we have here. Marilyn, you weren't kidding. We need like a drum roll. Like this is, yeah. Okay, the next item here. So we have a paper from the Toronto, Saturday, October 11th, 1952, from Toronto. There are truce talks going on with the UN, with the US, and still, some things never change.
That's not news. That's
Trying to be super careful here with the paper. Next, we have a paper from the Globe and Mail. Same date. The praise is heartfelt at Thanksgiving time. Good to know. Okay. Another paper. The Globe and Mail again. It's not a very nice title, so there was a car accident. Another one here. The Globe and Mail again. Somebody really enjoyed the Globe and Mail. It's Monday, October the 13th. More talk about the UN. All right, the Canadian Observer, something a little more local here, Sarnia, Ontario. North Ontario fire kills, oh, that's. All right, good news, here we go. We have a Canada Vacations Unlimited book. Cool, there to know. Sure it talks about Sarnia. All right, okay. The next thing is the annual report for the 1951 Sarnia General Hospital. I assure you it's a page turner. And
what was the budget in 1952?
that's a great question.
It'll be on the back.
There's audits of something, of blah, blah, blah. You know what, you can let me know if you find the price for that. I'm sure it's just a considerable bit less than today.
You think?
This is the list of medical staff, nursing personnel, employees, brief history, some word I can't read of hospital. You have to give me some credit. I'm 35 years old, so reading people's handwriting, cursive, is a bit of a challenge. I know. That's heartbreaking, isn't it? All right, Haynes Printing printed something, so that's great. They're still in business here. Sarnia General Hospital Annual Report. Your motto back then was heal the sick. Okay, I'll hand those over to you. So the other ones are just a handwritten list of employees that worked here at the time. So that's you. We have here the Golden Jubilee. Ooh. Dedication, alma mater. Sarnia General Hospital School for Nurses, Sarnia, Canada. Sure, that's an interesting book there as well. Sarnia General Hospital, 50 years of faithful service, 1896 to 1946, the annual report, right there. More riveting newspapers. Let's see what we got here. The London Free Press. Ottawa buying assures stable butter price. Thanks, Marilyn, for that. And we have a tourism book of Sarnia, Canada. Very nice. I'm back. I've actually never seen this one before. Hold on, I'm just going to take 10 minutes to myself for a quick read. Oh, wow, there's some really cool pictures in here. All right. What else do we have here? Know Your Hospital, a tour through your hospital on Hospital Day, May 12, 1952. And it looks like it is, yeah, it's something typed out. Oh, sweet. Okay. We have another book, the annual report from 1948, Sarnia General Hospital. So, and the exact same book, but just for 1849. And what did I say? Oh, sorry, 1950. Another. Let's see what this one is here. Eaton's College Street. It's by itself, so I'm just trying to figure out what the significance of it is. Oh, I think it's just advertising for Eaton's. It's funny. Some of this furniture looks like it's in my house.
So I'll interject, the hospital budget in 1952 was $500,000. Today it's $180 million. Some things never changed. They actually had a deficit of $10,000 at the time, so hospital deficits aren't new. And what I find incredible or remarkable is they have an unbelievable number of statistics, which similar to what we'd see today, and when you consider it was all compiled manually, that's somebody went to a lot of work to put this together.
And we have a bunch of signatures from folks from the Sarnia General Hospital, the phone number of which back in the day was 3661. Okay, another paper here. They really liked their papers back then. The Windsor Daily Star. All right. Eisenhower giving a speech. There we go. Another one from the Observer here. So this one is Friday, November 18th, 1949. Oh, well, it's a beautiful picture of the hospital. The title's not fantastic. 100 new beds featured in hospital plan. And then there's a nice picture of, I'm assuming, the proposed hospital. It's a really nice looking hospital. I don't know who would knock that down. Right. Just looks like there's about 2 more papers in here, and we'll move on to the next one. And the Canadian Observer again. Something about a bunch of babies. You know, somebody was telling me that for sure they were going to find something with Jimmy Hoff in here, so I'm just. Canadian helps bag 6 red jets. Windsor Star. And that's all she wrote. It's empty. Okay, so I'm going to move on to January 8th, 1929. That's what it looks like there for everyone.
No.
This is the one, yeah. So this is the one that we found, and we thought that this would have been the 1895 one, but it turned out we already had the 1895 one. So now for those people that like to go to the Sarnia Library, you would have been able to find out what was inside this one because they had them all listed, just for anyone that was doing that contest. Does anyone have a chisel they want to? No, so I came in earlier in the week and I did pop this off just to make sure I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now. But I didn't look in it.
Oh, we mistakenly soldered it back together. We didn't realize it was supposed to be open.
I assure you I have zero skill to do that. So. Yeah, I just need something to pop it off. Thanks, Marilyn.
If you break the key, I'll drive you home, Marilyn. Okay.
All right, there we go. Thanks, Marilyn. Okay. Whew. Sweating there a little bit. Okay, so it's a touch damp, or at one point maybe it could have been. Sarnia General Hospital Extension members of the Commission of 1929. So it's just got a lot of names of people that, there's the Women's Hospital AIDS Executive, tells you who the architect was, which was Chester C. Woods, who the contractors were, and the cornerstone laid on January 8th by Miss Margaret Mackenzie. Okay, we have newspapers. I'm sure the news was much more riveting back in, much more positive, I'm sure, back then. Let's see, we have the Globe. Somebody did like the Globe, for sure. January 8th, 1929. Not really much of anything. It says Ontario is purchasing last empire of Redman in Dominion of Canada. So. Okay. Another newspaper from the Sarnia Canadian Observer, January 7th, 1929. Optimistic over King's condition, City Council inaugurated. Streets aflame in London blast. All right. And we have a letter here. So it just talks about the meeting that they held on this day. President, first vice president, treasurer, and it has a list of all the names of the people that were here. Okay. Beautiful handwriting, I might add, not like mine today. So there are some coins in here. And I'll get to those just in a moment. Council will attend Cornerstone. Invitation of Women's Hospital Aid Society accepted. Okay, good to know. Oh, and this, okay. And then there's a poem here. Oh no, actually they're jokes. Okay, so we got false pride, angry motorist. Some of you pedestrians walk along just as you owned the streets, irate pedestrian. Yes, and some of you motorists drive around just as if you owned the car. Ha, fine. Okay. Humor is riveting there.
You had to be there.
Okay, so we have some coins here. Now, when we did the skits one, the one that was that we pulled out ended up being worth about $3,500. If skits wasn't so selfish and opened up a year earlier, it would have been worth $100,000. But I digress. So here. Like an American coin. It was an American quarter from that year. That's cool. This one has, it's 5 cents, United States of America, and there was a buffalo on it, and an Indian of some sort. I don't know if you can see that. An American penny. Thanks, America. Maybe Canada just didn't have coins back then. This one I can't read too well, but we'll afterwards. And looks like a British coin. No. Canadian 5 cents. All right, so that's everything for 1929. Okay, the 1895 one, which no one has a clue what's in this one. So let's get a picture there. It's pretty. When we got it out, it had one corner was kind of mangled on it. Well, there's papers. This is 121 years old here. So we have Mackenzie and Milne and Company, 1895, August 13th, Mackenzie Hardware House. Interesting note, I was just in that house, 320 Vital Street North, like 2 days ago. And there's a new owner there that's actually redoing this house that this company's from. I will read that later, but it talks about, it just talks about living in the area, who they are, writing a letter to someone. It's in fantastic condition. And then it looks like it's either from Hugh Baird or it's being written to him. The box was made by Hugh Baird, August 13th. Okay, so it's just saying who made the box. All right. This one looks really interesting. I just don't want to open it because I just want a bit more time with that before I open it, but I'll read what I can. In the name and by the honor. Oh, okay. Victoria. I think this is from the Masons, actually. So it says, in the name and of the and by the favor of the great architect of the universe. Yeah.
1895. 58th year of our gracious sovereign Victoria, Queen of Britain, the Grand Secretary of the Grand Lodge.
Oh, this is from the Masons, so it's from the Secretary of the Grand Lodge of the Masons. So if the Masons are in the house and you want to come check this out, I think there's a few here. Yeah, that's a really cool piece, and it's in perfect condition. 14th day of August, 1895. Perfect. That's in mint condition. I'm going to just show it there on the. You can pull back here. And then there's a letter from the Sarnia Board of Trustees, and it's got a paper clip, still intact. That's fantastic. It's like those old school pin ones. Old school, it's 121 years old. Okay. So this just is a letter about what's going on in the town of Sarnia, on the river St. Clair, near the outlet of Lake Huron, with its increasing commerce and large. Let's see who it was written by. Beautifully handwritten and in fantastic condition, I might add. This is from the chairman of. I think it's the chairman of the hospital. Yes. Yeah. There you go. So kind of like you from 121 years ago.
Oh, no, it would be.
Yeah. Beautiful handwriting. All right, let's see what else we got here. Something official and stamped here. Facts regarding the town of Sarnia. Handwritten again. Beautiful condition. Yeah, maybe read some.
So the street railway from Sarnia to Point Edward was opened in 1875 and was extended to the tunnel station in 1892. The waterworks system, on which $55,000 had been expended, was formally opened on July 1876. Since that time, large extensions have been made and an additional expenditure of over $40,000. which is actually a remarkable sum of money in 1895, 1875.
So this one I've got in my hand here says, the Sarnia General Hospital foundation stone laid. So this is the letter indicating the exact thing that's it. So there we go. Once again, beautifully handwritten. It's in mint condition.
According to the assessment roll for 1895, the assessed value of real and personal property is $2 million. I don't know, is there anybody from the assessment area? I'm sure it's more than that now. But, yeah.
Got another newspaper here from the Sarnia Observer, Sarnia Friday, August 9th, 1895 up. So just want to mention also, when you do come up to take a look at all this stuff, I just ask that you don't touch anything. And another letter from Mackenzie Milne. Wilma Siegel, born at Maplewood Rock something Township, 1892. So we've got some dust from 121 years ago, that's for sure. And once again, the globe. All right. So Saturday, August 10th, and there is a comedic sketch of politics or some sort. Okay.
So this is interesting. The streets were first lighted with gas in 1884. Electricity was substituted in 1894. The parks of the town were, by the adoption of the public parks in 1888, placed under the control of a board called the Board of Park Management, and $14,000 has since been spent upon them, principally on the Bayview Park. So it's interesting. Put that over.
So we have the Daily Mail and Empire, August 10th. Guns of the British Army since Waterloo. Okay. Another letter, or another newspaper article from the Daily Mail and Empire. So we got one last newspaper and then a bunch of little things at the bottom here, so almost. We have the Sarnia Canadian, Sarnia Wednesday, July, something about town council. Looks like a bunch of advertisements. The Sarnia Daily Post, June 15th, 1895. A day at Sarnia with a camera. Oh, that's cool. Oh, very, very interesting. Okay. So for those that are inclined to Sarnia history, there's a lot of pictures here actually that show up on postcards that we have in our collection that Dave Burrows owns, or Burwell, I mean. Beautiful. Sarnia Daily Post again, June 15th. kick against bricklaying, paving made by Front Street ratepayers. Taxpayers complain about road work again, some things never change there too. Okay, Marie. Sketch there. Saturday Globe, August 10th, 1895. A bunch of old white guys that no one knows the name of anymore. By the way, it was 5 cents for a newspaper. Inflation, crazy. All right, so we got a little booklet here. And it says, Constitution, Sons of England, Benefit Society, established December 12, 1874, and amended in 1895. And it's in mint condition. I think it's just the bylaws of the Sons of England. There you go. Letter here. Oh, sorry, I just want to show that too. Okay, next we have a letter here, a handwritten letter. Really nice handwriting. Lodge Bridgewater, number 204, Sons of England. Fred G. Watson, President of the Bridgewater Lodge, number 204. And this looks to be the cover for the Sons of England Constitution. There it is there. There's only one last, there's one last thing in here. There's no money. Oh, good. Yeah, and it's just a date, so I apologize. Yeah, that's everything that's in it. Okay. So at the end of this, you're more than welcome to come up here and take a look, and I just ask that you don't touch anything. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Ron. Yeah, I encourage you all to take a look at all the artifacts around the perimeter, and please go out to the Shell Healing Garden to see the memorial, to see the cornerstones and the memorial we made. And I'd like to again extend our thanks to the G5 group, many of whom are here with us today. And I'd like you all to just thank you for being here and being part of this. It's important to honor our past, and we look forward to the future. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day.